Yo, what up, guys? It's G here, aka Triple G, aka De La Jeezy, aka GGG. Wait, is that three G's? Yeah, that's three G's only. Okay, let's get it started tonight. Hope you guys are having a great day. Tonight we are talking about Tesla. We had some breaking news. What was it, last night, this morning? It did impact the stock negatively, but as you can see, it did recover most of that by the end of the day. So not a bad day for Tesla. Some of the other automakers did get impacted, like GM, Ford. I think Rivian was one of those affected as well. And then you had some of the, I guess, newer startups that did not get affected, like Polestar and Lucid. I think Polestar closed green, and then Lucid closed down only about 2%, whereas Ford and GM, they were like 4 or 5%, which was crazy. But before we start, we're going to look at the news, then we'll take a look at the charts. Don't forget to smash the like button for me, subscribe to the channel, and if you guys have any questions, drop them down in the chat or leave them in the comment, and we'll get to them when we get through with this stuff. So quick statistics right here. I just want to show you guys the volume, and so I think this is I'm going to take this as a positive. We have 180 million today, average is 117, and the reason I think this is a good thing is because the stock did not close like massively red. It only closed down 0.94%. So if it was a huge red day and we had a lot of volume, then you would say, hey, there's a lot of selling pressure, a lot of volume, a lot of people are getting out. And then, but this one is like the stock was down, and then by the end of the day, you can see a nice uptrend for the most part today, and it only closed down 0.94. So one other thing is it closed at 122.40. High of the day was 122.63. So very close to that as well. So let's go ahead and get started with today's news, or last night's news. The main thing, and we've kind of covered this, I think they did this in China first. Tesla turns up the heat on rivals with global price cuts. I think this is huge because I love Tesla, the product. I don't really like the stock right now because it's overvalued. I think pricing in future growth a lot, right? But I think this is going to be good for them. Maybe not for the stock, but I think for the volume and demand and stuff, I think that's going to help alleviate some of that demand destruction because people will now be able to afford this a little bit more realistically. But let's start. So one thing is Tesla did start doing this stuff in China, I think January 6th, early in January. And so it was pretty evident that they were probably going to bring this into the US, especially if demand and some of the interest rates and all that started impacting the economy. And so what Tesla did is they basically sliced their prices about, it was like 14 to 20%, so up to 20% globally. The shares are obviously going to take a big hit on that, initially at least, right? Because that's going to cut down on some of their profits, right? So if they're making like $60,000 and it costs them like 20,000 or 30,000 to make, then they're making 30. But now if they're selling them for 50, then they're only making that 20. You guys do the math, and that kind of makes sense, I think. So that I think is going to help them keep up with some of the demand, and then also is going to give them a bigger market share, because right now you got a lot of competition stepping up. You got Polestar, you got Ford, you got GM, and so I think that's why some of the US based automakers got hit, because this is obviously going to hurt Ford, and it's also going to maybe take some from GM. And surprisingly, Tesla or Polestar didn't take a big hit, but yeah, that was kind of weird because maybe they are out of China and they're really focusing on European market. They're doing Australian, they're doing some China, and obviously they do have a US market, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess they just got lucky today. So what's the news for Tesla though? Let's run down this quick thing really quick. I thought I read this earlier, but I guess not. So Tesla lowered the prices in the US, Europe, Middle East, and Africa following a series of cuts last week in Asia. So that was in China, which analysts saw a clear shot at both some smaller rivals that have been bleeding cash and legacy automakers aggressively ramping up electric vehicle production. And so what they're basically saying here is Tesla is in a position where they can start taking some cuts in margin and stuff because they've got a better balance sheet. They don't have to they've got a better infrastructure or just a better system and all that. So they're able to do these price cuts. And so now where some of these other startups like, Lucid, Polestar, and Rivian maybe, I wouldn't really say Ford and GM because I'm sure they can get cash if they need it. They've got the networking. But Tesla is in a position where they can make price cuts, whereas maybe Polestar and them, I think they will do price cuts, but it's going to hurt them a bigger dent on their balance sheet or their margins and stuff than where Tesla can survive 2023, right? So I think that's going to be like the price war and stuff, where people are going to be chopping down their prices based off the demand that they see. If demand starts slowing down, then they're going to have to cut down on their prices a little bit more. And it's going to be kind of back and forth, and and we'll see who survives 2023. That's going to be a thing, right? Competition is coming, and they're responding with price cuts. Chairman member of Great Capitol Hill said that. So yeah, I think this is huge because obviously I want to get a Tesla now. It's going to be more realistic, right? Because now they're like at 40,000, 60,000, whereas they were like at 70, 80. So you're saving like 6 to 20%. Let's go over some of those numbers, and then we can take a look. Oh, on top of that, before we look at the numbers, yes, this was very smart by Tesla too, because they are now qualified for a federal tax credit, which they were not qualified for last year. And inversely, like some of the other automakers, Polestar, Lucid, and some of these, I don't think they're actually qualified for, and then now Tesla is qualified for them. So I think this was another incentive for Elon to start taking these price cuts, because they're going to make money back off of this federal tax credit, right? So this gives them a little leverage, right? So if they're cutting their price down by 10K, I think they get 7,500 tax credit. So I mean, I don't know how that essentially works, but I think they get 7,500, and then this also brings them for some of the vehicles to qualify. So some of their models did not qualify for the tax credit, but now by dropping their prices, now they are eligible for that. So kind of genius move by Elon, and it's going to help mitigate some of that discount stuff, right? So Tesla slices prices across all its models. Let me just break this down for you guys. So their best model, which is the Model Y, is now eligible for the tax credit of 7,500, and it's making it more competitive as demand for electric vehicles continues to increase. So I don't know if that's completely true. Obviously, the overall sector is like going to continue growing, and that's maybe what they're saying by demand. But from a economic demand perspective, I think that's going to come down a bit, right? People are going to start trying to get their food before they try to get a new car. So yeah, this is a clear shot across the bow at European automakers in US stalwarts GM and Ford. Tesla's not going to play nice in the sandbox with EV price war now underway. Yeah, so basically some of the stuff that I've been kind of recapping, margin will get hit on this, but we will like this strategic poker move by Musk. And yeah, so Elon and Tesla, they have the power, the power to be able to do these margins where maybe Lucid, Rivian can't do that, because they're trying to get profitable. They're still trying to ramp up, but Tesla's already got so many factories out there. So that's very nice for them. What's the prices? So this brings the price down to below a 55 price cap required to qualify for the federal tax credit, right? And so now if you look at some of these automakers, the other ones, I don't know how much the Ford costs and stuff. I don't know how much the GM ones, but I do know Polestar is like about 55, 57, but now you can start getting the Model Y around this price, right? And so now it's like, excluding all the politics and stuff, if people don't care about politics, then they're going to want to get the Model Y, because or the Model 3 or the Plaid or something, because now they're more affordable. And like I'm gonna be honest, I think the Tesla product is far superior than a lot of the other EVs. I mean, they've just been on the road for longer. They've got the autonomous like capability, so if you get the model car or whatever, then at some point you can upgrade it. So it's not like you gotta trade in your car and get one with the autonomous. They can just do an over-the-air update. So I mean, a Model Y or a Model 3 or something, that car is going to last you for a long time. I think the major expense is definitely the battery, but other than that, you basically buying a supercomputer. So just dropping that stuff down in price is going to definitely heat up the competition. So I think that was pretty neat. And Tesla can now move much faster to do that than its bigger rivals. Most automakers set the suggested price for their vehicle by model year, and consumers then negotiate their actual price at the dealership. On the other hand, Tesla sets price directly to the website with no negotiation and changes those prices whenever it likes. And that's another good thing about this. I think Volvo, some of the other legacy Ford, GM, they go through dealerships and stuff, right? So the salesman has to make their commission. So they're taking a cut from all that. So they've basically got a pretty strict price tag. Whereas like Polestar, Tesla, I'm not sure about Lucid or if they're direct to consumer, but they don't have to do the consumers the salesman stuff, right? So I think that's another advantage there. The only other thing I want to cover on this article here is some stuff that came out from one of the analysts, and that is out of Wedbush. Don't really know how reputable are, but they do have a point. They say the price cuts were eye-popping, of course, and it's going to become the EV price war. And this is really interesting here. Tesla now has global scale that it did not have a few years ago and has margin flexibility to make aggressive moves like this to gain further market share in this EV arms race. So I think that's a very big statement. It's very important. Like I was just saying, they have that leverage there that most other startups don't have just quite yet. Less than impressed by the move, which could ultimately undermine confidence in the company. So yeah, that's what I got there. One other thing unrelated is this came out of a few days ago. Tesla is now the best-selling luxury car brand in the US, and it's not even close. Just want to do a quick breakdown of these numbers. And you've got Tesla 491,000, BMW about a third of that, or 3/4 of what Tesla is doing, and then everything else is down here. So that's a quick rundown of that, and let's get over to the charts. So Tesla, I think short term, I think looks pretty good. So maybe I need to start at the daily here. So what I was noticing is huge drop, right? So you do a consolidation phase here, then a huge drop, and now it looks like we're consolidating again, but we are making higher lows. So let me show you guys. You can see we have a low here, which we made back in early January, mid-January here, and then now, we've got higher lows up here. So if my computer would work with me, then I can show you guys. But we have a low here, a higher low here, and then if you notice, we've actually been rejecting this resistance here, and it looks like we are getting into some sort of a pennant. So you got the ascending support there, you can have the resistance there, and you basically are consolidating. So I am looking for a move to the upside or the downside. I just think in general it's getting ready to do a move in either direction. Whether the market's strong enough, then we could possibly go to the upside. Some targets that I'll be looking for is going to be about 155, I think is the target that we had here. Let me just reset the chart so we can see really quick. It's like right here, 155, but you know, psychologically I would just say 150. All right, let's be conservative there. So about 150, where's that? That's not 150. Yeah, that's 150 actually. I was thinking 155 is up here. So 150 is psychologically or conservatively what I would be looking for. A lot of people will probably be looking to the recent high, which is going to be obviously breaking the recent high here at 125, but then you don't really have any resistance until this level right there. So that's the reason that I'm targeting that. To the downside, I would be basically looking for the break of this ascending support. So once you break through this little pennant, then you'll get a bigger move in one direction. I will say the MACD does look nice because it's trying to cross the signal. So if that can get above the signal, then that could be bullish. You also have bullish momentum coming in on the bullish momentum indicator. So I would be expecting a bigger move later next week, so maybe Wednesday. So markets close on Monday, so this is definitely going to be on watch. I wanted to get some calls today, but I didn't man up. I went and got something else. But I think this is setting up to do a move to the upside or the downside. We'll kind of see how that plays out. I think that's all I really have for today's video. What did I run? 13 minutes? I think that's good. Anybody have any questions? Let me see. Make sure I'm trying to make sure I covered everything on here. So Tesla. Yeah, numbers are pretty good for them. They're just the best ones. There's also another article that came out about just the Australian market and Tesla, Polestar, and BYD being the best. And they made about 70% of the EV market in Australia last year. So all good news for just the EVs. I guess the main thing I want to get through or make for the purpose of the video is Tesla doing these price cuts is going to affect some of the market share for some of the other EVs. So this is going to slow down. Well, let me see. How do I word it correctly? the price, so demand is coming down because of the economy and stuff, but with Tesla cutting down their prices, they already did it in China. If they start cutting it, they're already doing it in US. That's going to kind of balance out some of that demand destruction that's happening with just EVs and everything in general, any product, electronics, and just not essentials. Basically, if they're not essentials like food or clothing and stuff, then people are kind of double thinking before if they need to buy it, do they really need it and stuff, right? So that's why Tesla actually stopped a lot of production in China. I believe they're blaming it on the Cygnus thing, the thing that happened in 2020. They're blaming it on that, but I think there's more to that, right? I think it's more involved with demand and stuff. But so that this price cut and stuff is going to help them kind of get those volumes back up to where it's going to hurt the stock because of the margins and stuff, but they're not going to keep a huge inventory of their Tesla vehicles or whatever. They're not going to have over inventory because they're cutting down their price so they can sell them. And they're also not going to lose too much because now doing those price cuts lets them qualify for some of these US credits, which some of these other EVs are now not qualifying for. So just kind of a mix win-lose, but I think it's bullish overall. For the shares, I think towards earnings and stuff, it might be negative just because it's not going to look good on the earnings per share and all of that, right? Margins are going to dramatically drop. But we'll kind of see how that comes out down. And was it March or February? I'm not sure when they actually report stuff. So I think that's about it. And then from the chart, consolidation phase, higher lows, and then we are getting ready to break out at like 125. If market's strong, I could definitely see as continuation or finally starting to break out above this. And then, like I said, our resistance is about 150, 155 up there. And then to the downside, about 110. This really just moves in increments. So like 110 and then 100. So we'll kind of see how that goes. So that's about it, fellas. Please consider dropping a like on the video if you can, if you guys learn anything. Let me know your favorite EV of 2023. There's a lot out there. Polestar, Lucid, Rivian, Ford, GM, Fisker, I guess. Arrival. I'm not bullish on that one at all. But let me know your thoughts. And if you guys have any questions, drop them down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a safe weekend. Peace.